You're listening to the Transform Your Life from the Inside Out podcast. This episode is titled Scripting the Life of Your Dreams. Ponder that for a moment. Scripting your life. If you look at, for example, a Hollywood movie, it wasn't just slapped together. Maybe there was one that was slapped together, but if you look at like Academy Award winning movies, they're scripted. And for you to create what you want in life, you must script what you want to create in life. You must script exactly what you want it to look like, because if you don't, life's going to work from your old programming and societal programming and what other people have programmed you with. So, in this episode, I'm going to show you how I've been doing this for a lot of years in my own life, how I script my life, how you can script your life step by step to create the life of your dreams. Keep listening. Hi, I'm Jim Fortin, and you're about to start transforming your life from the inside out with this podcast. I'm widely considered the leader in subconscious transformation, and I've coached super achievers all around the world for over 25 years. Here, you're going to find no rah-rah motivation and no hype, because this podcast is a combination of brain science, transformational psychology, and ancient wisdom all rolled into one to take your life to levels you've never thought possible. If you're wanting a lot more in life, to feel better, to heal, to have peace of mind, to feel powerful and alive, and to bring more abundance and prosperity into your life, then this podcast is for you, because you're going to start learning how to master your mind and evolve your consciousness. And when you do that, anything you want then becomes possible for you. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so scripting your dreams might sound a little bit too simple and perhaps maybe even a little ridiculous. But what I'm going to share with you, and when you decide to do this exactly as I instruct, you will prove to yourself that what I'm going to share with you, it works. Let me take you back to 1998. Now, I'm pretty sure I've told this on the podcast before, but when I lived in New York City, I lived on the Upper East Side. And my friends used to make fun of me saying, Jim, you live in white bread. I mean, it's pretty plain, pretty banal on the Upper East Side. It's the wealthiest neighborhood in Manhattan, but it's just boring as it can possibly be. A bunch of nannies and strollers on the Upper East Side. And I wanted to move to the Upper West Side, which is hip and trendier, and it's just more vibrant, a more vibrant part of the city. But I wanted to stay close to the park because I would go to the park every Saturday with my dog and every Sunday. So one day I wrote down on a piece of paper exactly what it was that I wanted to create. And plain and simple, I just made a little short list. Now, at that time, I didn't know that I was actually scripting. So I wrote down a little bit of a short list, and I put it in this pyramid that I had in my bedroom. And in the pyramid, basically, it just opened up and you could put pieces of paper in it. And I put this in the pyramid, and I read it 3 times a day. Now, something that's really important to this story, this is vital that I share this with you, is I wasn't attached to the outcome. I had zero attachment to the outcome because, and I don't know how I knew, but I knew it would happen. I wasn't trying to force it. I wasn't stressing out over it. I wasn't every day going, oh my gosh, my lease is coming due and I can't renew it. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I simply wrote on a piece of paper what I wanted to create in terms of an apartment. And I knew it would happen. So notice here, this is really important. This is one of the most important things. Because when you're trying to create things in life, what many people do is they attach. They literally just attach to it like they've got Elmer's glue on their hands, and they are just attached and they attack it. And people who do dream boards and all these kind of things, they're sitting there, and it's almost as a metaphor, as if they're constipated, going, this has got to happen. It's got to. Well, look at the attachment. And
that actually runs, it chases off, and things that you want run away when you place that kind of attachment on it. And the reason why is because, plain and simple, you literally tell the universe you don't have it. And what you're communicating to the universe in terms of your feeling and your frequency is what the universe returns right back to you. On my list, very simply, I wrote down, I want to live, I intend to live on 72nd Street between Central Park West and Broadway. I want my own bedroom. I want my own bathroom. I want a spiritual roommate. I want a roommate who loves dogs because I had a black lab. And I want my rent to be the same thing or less than what it is right now. And I wrote this down, put it in the pyramid, and I read it a couple of times every day. Again, with zero attachment, and I'll keep reinforcing that. I just knew that somehow it would happen. And if it didn't, okay, something else would happen. I mean, I knew it wasn't the end of the world. I knew I would end up living somewhere. So I wasn't really attached to it, but I knew what I wanted and I knew where I wanted to live. Now, through a series of events I won't go into in this episode, I ended up moving to the Upper West Side about 45 days later. I went to a roommate service. I won't go into that whole story, but basically they introduced me to someone, and it was so serendipitous how they made the introduction. Again, I won't go into it. Anyway, this person that I met for the roommate service, I moved into their apartment on the Upper West Side. Now, on my list, remember, it was between Central Park West and Broadway. But the week prior, a couple of weeks prior to me even meeting this person, I said, because I was meeting a friend of mine on 72nd Street, and it's really loud at 72nd Street and Broadway, I said, no, I don't want to live on 72nd. I want to live on 73rd Street. All right, fast forward 45 days, maybe 2 months max. I moved to the Upper West Side, as I just said. Now, I had my own bedroom, my own bathroom. I had a spiritual roommate. He was pretty spiritual. I asked him why he chose me over other people, and he said because he liked my dog. My rent was not the same or less than what I was paying on the Upper East Side. I believe it was about 78 cents more than what I was paying on the Upper East Side. And my address, are you ready? Remember where I said I wanted to live on 73rd Street? My address was 170 West 73rd Street, New York, New York. How? How does that happen? Manhattan alone has 8 million people. How did that happen? I use that same strategy. That is scripting to some degree, and we're going to talk about scripting your life in this episode, and I'm going to give you the steps. I use that very same strategy, specifically the non-attachment, knowing what I wanted, what I intended to create, and knowing that it was going to be done in some way. I was confident, and putting it out to the universe. I use that same strategy. I'm sure I've told it here in the podcast before, and getting in my foot in the door at Coca-Cola. I admit, that was me many years ago. When I moved to Atlanta, I thought I might want to work at Coke. Well, I ended up meeting the personal assistant to the chairman of the board of Coca-Cola who got me in the door. I also said I wanted to work at the Carter Presidential Center. Well, I met a woman that her boss was the Secretary of State of Georgia. He and I became friends, but he introduced me to people at the Carter Center because he knew Jimmy Carter. And before I knew it, I was working at the Carter Presidential Center. Intention without attachment. But we have to direct that intention. Okay, now what I'm going to share with you are your steps to scripting your life. Step number 1 is make a list of 4 to 5 or 6 things that you intend to manifest / create / bring into your life. Let's keep it simple to start. I simply want you to learn the process, and as you get better at it, then you can build on your list. Maybe it's a home. Maybe it's an apartment. Maybe it's a car. Maybe it's a partner. Things that you want in life. Now, to give to give you an example here is I drive a Porsche Macan. I've driven Porsche for some time. I bought a Mercedes in 2022, a brand new Mercedes AMG. I didn't like it. I wanted to go back to Porsche. However, I fortunately wisened up a little bit and I said, I'm not going to buy a brand new Porsche because I took a big hit when I sold the Mercedes on depreciation. And I said, I ain't taking another $30,000 in depreciation. So I'm going to buy something used. And I want something under 5,000 miles. I want a Porsche Macan. I want a Porsche Macan S. I want under 5,000 miles. And I had a few other simple criteria. Well, I put that on my list. Now I could have just gone out and bought one, or went out and bought one, sorry. But the thing was this, I wanted something used under 5,000 miles, and there was a particular model and make and color that I wanted. And it wasn't just readily available in the marketplace and being used. I could find one probably brand new. Well, within about 2 to 3 weeks, I found that car. It came to me online and it came to me serendipitous. As a matter of fact, I got an email from a Porsche dealership that I had not talked to in 6 months. Out of the blue, air quote, out of the blue, they simply emailed me and said, hey, by the way, we've got this Porsche Macan in. So I manifested a car. So think about things that you want to create, you intend to create, you intend to manifest and bring into your life. Homes, cars, maybe a partner, a lover, maybe something you need for your business. It doesn't matter what it is, but keep it simple for now. Step number 2, as I said, do not attach to it. Do not. Because see, what we attach to, you think about the emotions that are associated with attachment. I know I said on the podcast before that many of us think we are living in the 3rd dimension. We're not. We're living in the 5th dimension. In the 3rd dimension, we were taught many, many years ago, you have to write it down and you got to focus and focus and focus and focus and focus and visualize and visualize and imagine and imagine and imagine. And basically it has this forced energy behind it. But in the 3rd dimension, when we work from that energy, which is 3D, that's how we create. But in the 5th dimension, which is what we're in now, that repels what you want to create. This is why it's vital, like the Carter Presidential Center to me. Many, many years ago, back in the early 90s, when I went to work at the Carter Presidential Center, I told a friend of mine that I wanted to work there. And he said, Jim, there's a lot of people that want to work there. And he's basically raining on my parade. And I said, I don't care. I know I'm going to work there. Well, I ended up there. Now, do not attach. Simply create your list of 4 to 6 things. It can be health. It can be spirituality. It can be partners. It can be physical things. It can be a physical address. It can be a job. It can be whatever you want it to be. Do not attach. Simply identify and write them down on a list. Now, a little tip here. When you write them down, what you may want to do is write a thank you note. I've been in this field for a lot of years and I've listened to so many different videos and audios and programs and books and everything. Everything many years ago from Abraham Hicks to mainly I learned now from my brother-in-law, Don Javier, the shaman. I've been around the block. And what I'm telling you is we're not going to force it. We're just going to create a list, okay? And what you want to do on the list is you want to create this list and you want to read it 3 times per day. You want to read your list and keep it short. Keep it 1 page, not front and back, 1 page. Keep it simple. We tend to complicate things because we think complicating is going to make it easier and it makes it harder. Make your list 1 page. Read it in the morning. Read it in the afternoon and read it last thing before bed. Now, as I was alluding to, and I segued there a little bit, is you can write a thank you list. That's why I mentioned Abraham Hicks and etc. Abraham Hicks, many years ago, back in the 90s, I heard Abraham Hicks say, Write your list, script your list as a thank you letter, as if it's already happened. Meaning, thank you for the car, thank you for the job, thank you for the partner, thank you for the sex, thank you for the business growth, thank you for the new clients, whatever it might be for you. But read your list 3 times a day as if it is a thank you letter. And you can start your list. I suggest having a couple of components under each category. And I wouldn't pick more than 3 categories. Let's keep it simple. Maybe health, maybe money, maybe relationships. Keep it simple, okay? Now, you don't want to write big, long paragraphs either in each section. Simply, you want to write a couple of sentences. And the 2 sentences that I would suggest is 1 sentence thanking the universe, God, Buddha, Muhammad, Zoroaster, the quantum field, the quantum dimension, Santa Claus, whatever you want, thanking the entity from where this thing is coming. And if you're a Christian, it can be God, even though we don't have a lot of Christians listening. But if you're a spiritualist, it can be the universe, it can be divine mind, it can be the quantum field, whatever you want it to be. But what you want to do, first part of each section is just thank the universe for bringing it into your life. Number 1, thank the universe for bringing it into your life. Second part is get into the feeling of what it feels like to have this in your life. Basically, you're giving thanks for something that you have in your life that you have manifested. So what you're doing is you're giving thanks for it before it's even shown up in your life. Now, a little twist here. Now, I would suggest you stick with what I'm sharing with you, and I will direct you to a very short audio on YouTube that you can find that will explain this, exactly what I'm sharing with you. But it's a very famous book that probably 99% of you have never heard of. Before I do that, back in the 90s, I used to listen to a lot of Earl Nightingale. He's known as the godfather of, I don't know, personal development, I guess you would say. I think back in the 50s, he created an album, back when we had albums, that actually went gold or platinum or something, and I think it was called Lead the Field, or The Strangest Secret or something like that, which are other programs of his. I've followed them for many years. I don't anymore because I've just habituated them. But Earl Nightingale had something similar in what he calls his 30-day challenge. Basically, putting simple reminders all the same, all over the house, just to keep in front of you what it is that you know you're attracting and you're creating. The father of American psychology, William James, said we pretty much become what we think about all day long. Now, what we do not want to do is think about these things all day long. Here's the big mistake that 99.99999% of you make, is you think about it all day long, but you think about not having it. I want it, but I don't have it. I want it, but I don't have it. I want it, but I don't have it. So what you're doing is you're manifesting more of what you don't have. So Earl Nightingale was saying, take some 3x5 cards, put them up in the bathroom, in your car, on the dashboard, on the refrigerator, on your desk, wherever, and remind yourself all day long. So I'm kind of mishmashing 2 different processes, Earl Nightingale or the It Works process. I'll talk about that because it does work, and I started this episode with the comment, it works. And I guess the reason I tell you about both of them.
Okay, I want to segue from the episode for just one moment, and I want to ask you, where were you most stuck in 2023? What things held you back the most? When I ask people, why they're not getting what they want in life, people often say, well, I was stuck with XYZ. Or, and this may resonate with you, I feel stuck. If you're feeling stuck, one question I want you to ask yourself is, what is it costing me? What is it costing me to not resolve this and to battle being stuck? And when you add that up, whether it's money and especially in business, but in your health and your relationships, when you add that up, it's extremely costly to be stuck in life. Now, all this being said, I created a new challenge. I created it last year. Many thousands of people have gone through it. and it's called the Get Unstuck Challenge. Interesting, the name's all about getting unstuck. Now, in this challenge, it's a 9-day challenge, and I walk you through at a very profound, at a very spiritual, level, and even at a cosmic level. I walk you through who and how you're being as a being, meaning your presence on the planet. And when you understand that, when you understand the nature of you at a very deep level, now you might have heard me say be to have before, and that's more about 3D reality. Who do you have to be so you can do so you can have? But I'm talking, what does it mean to be? And then what is that power associated with that? When you understand that, you automatically get unstuck in life. This program, never offered it before to you guys. We're offering it now. I don't think we've offered it to the podcast and an ad. Maybe we have, maybe we have. I don't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter because we haven't offered it a lot if we have. But we're offering the Get Unstuck Challenge again. It's only $97. Thousands of people have been through it and they rave about the results they're getting. And I know that you will do the same thing. So again, ponder the question, what does it cost me? What am I giving up? What peace of mind? What happiness? What money? What relationships am I giving up in life because I am stuck in my own crap? Now, as you're thinking about that, click the link, go to tcp.jimfortin.com/unstuck. Again, and we'll drop the link in the show notes, tcp.jimfortin.com/unstuck. Download the program, you get started right away, and your life will start changing dramatically. When you apply what you're learning in that program, your life will start changing in very dramatic ways, very, very quickly. And as a matter of fact, in the next 9 days. Okay, back to the episode.
As if you do one, for example, what I'm sharing with you predominantly, and you feel like you're not getting the results, then you can explore the Earl Nightingale 30-day challenge. But for now, I would stick with what I'm giving you. Okay, step number 4 is, so you have your list, you're giving thanks, but what you want to do is give thanks as if you've already created it. So you're reading your list, one page, maybe you have 3 paragraphs, three different categories. So what you do is you read your first paragraph and thank you, universe, for bringing me the new galoshes. Thank you, universe, for bringing me the girlfriend. Thank you, universe, for bringing me the job of my dreams. Thank you, universe, for bringing me the new car. Thank you, universe, for bringing me the apartment of my dreams, the home of my dreams, whatever it might be for you. Now, here's the next step of part 4. Sit with it for 5 minutes. Sit with it, and you can do the whole list in under 5 minutes, but meaning you can read all 3 and then just sit with all 3 for 5 minutes. But what you want to do is you want to imagine all 3 as already having happened. Einstein said, your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. What you're simply doing when you're giving thanks and you're imagining it, what you're doing is you're literally communicating to the universe and the frequency and the language of the universe, which is frequency and vibration. So you have your list, you read it, you're giving thanks, you sit with it, all three things on your list, you imagine is already true for 5 minutes. Now keep this simple, but make sure that you give thanks for everything because gratitude is the attitude. As you go and as you become more proficient, you can add more things. But for now, like when I added the Porsche Macan, and I added the color, I added the make, the model, I forgot, I even added the year that I wanted, which is when I bought it was 2023. I added the year, I added under 5,000 miles, I added Porsche Macan S, etc. Now, the highest model of Porsche Macan is a GTS, and those are even 20,000 more than the one that I bought. But I live in Sedona. We have so many tourists here, you barely get over 30 miles an hour anyway because of the traffic. And I thought, I rarely, if ever, once a year leave Sedona. I don't drive when I leave. Why would I need a high-powered GTS 0 to 60 in 3 seconds in Sedona when we got traffic everywhere? That's why for any of you that are car aficionados might be saying, well, why didn't you ask for the Porsche GTS? I can't drive. There's nowhere to drive it in town, but I wanted something with some pep and some get up and go to it. Okay, now, like the Porsche Macan for me, when you get what you want, make sure you give thanks for it. Cross it off your list. Now you can add something else on your list to replace what you marked off. Very important. Trust the process for 30 days. Now, something, you might be thinking, oh, okay, Jim, blah, blah, this sounds too simple. It's too easy. Well, this is a good test of your level of commitment also. So what I'm going to share with you is a phrase. Do the work, meaning read and do exactly what I tell you to do for 30 days. Do the work. And that's not me like Big Brother getting on you. That literally, when you do the work and you trust the process for 30 days, what are you doing? You're basically telling the universe, I'm dedicated to this. I'm doing the work. And when you're doing the work, what you're doing inadvertently is you're demonstrating desire. Demonstrating desire for these things you're placing your intention and attention on. So, think of it this way. We're talking about 30 days. And let's say that you're kind of spotty and you kind of do part of it, and candidly, you do it half-ass. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you say your level of desire is for these things that you say you want to manifest? Yet, when you're creating your list, you're reading it morning, afternoon, and evening. You're doing this every day without fail. What is then your level of commitment, discipline, and work? You're all in. You're devoted. You're all in. And when you're all in and devoted, the universe will reflect that back to you by bringing to you what is on your list. Also, short little note, let's start simple, okay? And it can be. You can start with a car. You can start with an extra $1,000 per month. You can start with just meeting a new friend. You can start with a job. I think it's pretty simple. Start with simple things. What you do not want to start with is world peace, or I want my lifetime soulmate, and you can do that, okay, if you think it's within reach for you right now. All I'm telling you, and I'm very careful with my phraseology here, is attract things that you think are within your reach or possibility at this point in your life. Because the whole point is, I do not want to set you up for failure. Because if you put on your list, oh, okay, I want to attract $1 million. For most people listening, they can't even fathom $1 million, and that's a stretch. Or whatever it might be, the dream home or whatever. Start smaller. Now, there are various schools of thought on this. Some schools of thought, like in the book It Works, will say put a date on it. Other schools of thought will say do not put a date on it. For me, I don't put dates on it because I know that when I hold it and I hold it devotedly in mind, I know it will show up in the right time for me and the way that I need it and the ways that I want it, etc. So I don't put by XYZ date, I have blank, blank, blank. In the book It Works, it will tell you to do that. You have to do what's comfortable for you. The main thing is that you're casting to the universe, to God, Buddha, Muhammad, Zoroaster, whoever, Moses, Noah, I don't know, universe. You're casting to them your intention. And then when you do what I'm instructing of you, you're demonstrating desire and gently demonstrating desire. And when you gently demonstrate desire without forcing it, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, what you're doing is you're speaking to the universe. And what you're speaking, the language you're speaking to the universe, will be returned to you. So I got this process and I shared a couple of, maybe a couple of different approaches, but I got this from Don Javier. I got it from Earl Nightingale. I got it from Abraham Hicks, and reading a bazillion books. And then the book It Works, I believe, was published in 1923. Let me tell you about that. Go to YouTube, and there's a book. The guy's name is an acronym. Whoever wrote the book It Works. The book It Works will take you in audio format on YouTube, 15 minutes to listen to max. And it explains everything that I've just told you. However, you may want to listen to that because it may reinforce something that I've said, or you may hear it in a different way. And you might be like, okay, now I got it. So what I'm sharing with you, again, it's called It Works. That's the name of the book. It's by an acronym like RJH or RHJ or something like that. But just search the book It Works on YouTube, watch the video. And there's some video there on YouTube by an ancient society of some sort. I don't know. Okay, now, scripting works. Do it as I instructed, meaning put it on a piece of paper. Read it 3 times a day. Give thanks for it, and imagine for 5 minutes in total per session that it's already done. And I think back here, that's your transformational takeaways. Do exactly what I just shared with you. I remember watching Oprah's final season because it was her final season and I wanted to watch it because I really didn't watch any of the others. And I was watching her and her maturity, so I was enjoying it. And in one of the final episodes, she said, in her apartment in Chicago, she said, every morning I sit at this table, and it had different things on it, like a spiritual book and a notebook and pen and a candle and different things. And she says, every morning I sit at this table. And basically what she was doing is her version of scripting. She said, every morning I sit at this table. It can be 5 minutes. It can be 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. But I sit at this table and do my work, meaning instructing the universe for what it is she's manifesting and creating. When you do this exactly as I instruct it, I promise you will amaze yourself. You will be shocked at your outcomes. And the great thing about that is I don't have to prove anything to you. You will prove to yourself that you can manifest when you do it in the way that I shared with you. Do not attach. Put it on paper. Read it 3 times a day. Give thanks for it. Imagine it's already true. And simply just sit there and imagine that it's already, operative word, already happened for you in your life. Do that. I'm looking forward to reading your comments in different places. All right. That wraps up this episode, and I'll catch you over on another episode. Bye-bye.